Hey everybody, that's Sean Worker and I'm Glenn Hausman. Welcome to Take 5+1. Sean, I got to tell you, this is so interesting. We're going to continue our series today with folks in the conference space that are adapting and innovating and facing the new challenges of a brand new era. That's why I thought it'd be really great to bring on our friend Alexi Khajavi, President of Travel and Hospitality with QuestX. What do you think about that, sir? There he is, Alexi Khajavi. Traveling, as always, in a hotel room in an unmarked location in the world. Alexi, so great to see you, sir.
Good to see you guys.
Sean?
So thanks as always for making the time. And, you're like the glow. I can't even keep up with you. It's in Europe, then it's in Salt Lake, then it's New York. And more importantly, you were in Vegas. And we're really excited about these types of shows because we're doing a series, as you know, on what the trends are and what the leaders in aggregating gatherings that are thought leadership led. And you've seen a lot. And I know off air, we talked about Vegas. And how did that feel? I mean, that was a big show for you guys to pull off.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago. It was our bar and restaurant expo in Las Vegas. 35 years. We hadn't done the event in 27 months, obviously due to the pandemic and the annual cycle of that show. But personally, coming from London to Las Vegas is always a bit of a shock. Doing it after 18 months of lockdown in the UK was it was like space travel. I mean, I got off the plane and still diligently wearing my mask and dousing myself with antibacterial sanitation gel. And people were looking at me like I was the oddball.
Well, that's silly, Alexi, because whenever you're in Vegas, no matter what the year, that's always good advice.
Yeah, exactly. Pandemic or otherwise, it's good to be safe in Vegas. But it was incredibly interesting just from a cultural perspective, just to see that frankly, humanity has really, or a large swath of it has said, look, we're going to take this into our own hands to a certain extent, and we're going to do the things that we were doing, pre-pandemic. I think hospitality as an industry has a responsibility to make sure it at least in their establishments, whether that's our events or a restaurant, is done in as safe and a hygienic way as possible. But obviously, it was incredible just to see how quote unquote normal it really was, or it really is, in Vegas. I know some people find that quite shocking and disturbing. Other people find it, frankly, liberating. And not to get into that, but our event, to get to that, which is the Bar and Restaurant Expo, we got just over 10,000 delegates. Which is it's about a 15% drop on what we had in 2019. But more importantly, people were coming to buy. So this is an event that connects bar and restaurant owners and operators with suppliers to the F&B space, whether those be spirits or kitchen supplies and everything. Our exhibitors had low expectations, and rightfully so. And many of them ran out of product. They were selling so much product on the show floor that they simply ran out of product because there was so much activity. So it was an incredible event.
Right, Alexi, I got to tell you, I'm not surprised by that at all, because I recently attended your Hotech North America event in Miami, which is, of course, a matchmaking type of scenarios, putting buyers and suppliers together. I was seeing deals being made at the tables. I was seeing a resurgence that I hadn't seen before that kind of plays in the feeling and the vibe with the massive crowds that are coming to Las Vegas and returning to shows such as your nightclub and bar show and restaurant show.
Yeah, and thanks for being there, Glenn, because that was fabulous to have you join us down at Hotech. And look, I mean, whether it's hotel owners and operators buying supplies and preparing for the recovery, or bar and restaurant owners, or hotel investors that are going to be coming to IHIF in Berlin, in September. The reality is that the private sector is gearing up for the recovery. and they are reinvesting. They're looking at what they're going to be doing. They're looking at what they need to be doing. Suppliers are eager to get in front of those buyers again. And this idea, again, this hyperbolic, sort of prognostication that, events will never come back, or travel will never come back, or hospitality will never come back. I mean, that's absolute just bull.
Or as you guys say in London, poppycock.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was going to say, what is that? Malarkey. It's absolute malarkey.
It's good that we're getting a throwback. So now that we got a throwback, when you went through the decision making for the events that you've done and the events that you're about to do, what were the big changes or adaptations or innovations? Did you use tech? Did you not use tech? How'd you make those decisions? Did you upgrade tech? What happened? What's going to happen?
Much of the tech innovation has been on the virtual side. You've just seen an incredible explosion of tech platforms that have come in on allowing organizers or even businesses to do virtual meetings. And, from Zoom to this technology that we're using today to Hopin and many others, right? We happen to use a platform called Intrado. It's an enterprise platform that we use across our organization. We did over 200 virtual events in 2020. And I don't mean like webinars. I mean full-blown events with networking and multiple sessions and so forth. I think the greatest tech, sort of pivot, if you will, or, integration is that not that we're going to continue to just do exclusively virtual events, but now we're going to be treating our events like you would the Olympics or, a football match, in that there's a justified and a real sort of engaged audience that's live, that's in the stadium, that's in your event, and you have an experience and you have it sort of a number of deliverables for them. But then you've got this other audience that, they don't want to hop on a plane, or perhaps they're not senior enough in the organization to, afford the T&E to go to that event. But you've still got to give them the content. In fact, many of those folks that's the biggest importance for them, is the content. So we're going to be treating our events from this point forward as literally as a broadcast. Right. We've got some, stuff for the live audience. And then we've got another cohort of folks, thousands more, that are going to be watching from, their offices or their homes.
Well, I'm glad that you guys finally made this particular breakthrough, because for too long, as we've said before, conference organizers were scared that if you added some sort of element, it would take away, as opposed to the reality, which is making it a plus and keeping your brand front and center amongst people, even if they can't show up.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
sorry. Keep going, Alexi.
Yeah, I was just going to agree with you, Glenn. I mean, I think, it took a crisis to prove that, ultimately the product can be broadened to other audiences without cannibalizing that core audience that's in the room.
Right. Sean?
And so when you're now moving forward and the key learnings coming out of the other two shows, and you're looking forward to IHIF and adjacent spaces, what are the key changes that the attendees there and the conferees going there, what should they expect to see?
Well, I think the first thing is that it really is going to be, again, this most senior level audience that we've had. I mean, one thing that always happens after a crisis is that, if you went to 10 conferences last year, you're going to 3 the next year.
Right.
And so by that process of elimination and culling, it means that, the junior level, the EVPs, or whatever level that might be in that company, they're not going at all, or they're going to less events. And it means that the senior level folks are going to choose, what 3 events, versus the 10 that they were going to. And fortunately for us, IHIF is the flagship hospitality investment conference in EMEA. So we know, that we're going to get the senior level folks. In fact, we've got so many CEOs, from, the new CEO of Marriott, Tony Capuano, to Chris Nassetta, to, CEO of Radisson. And, we've got more this year. In fact, almost twice as many CEOs that are attending IHIF than attended in 2019. So we're actually kind of struggling with, how to accommodate for the demand at that senior level. That being said, we're not expecting the quantity. We typically have around 2,700 delegates. This year, we're expecting around 2,000. That's a good number. Just 6 years ago, we were at 1,600 delegates. So we had exponential growth over the last 7 years. 2,000 delegates of the most senior level hotel investment funds as well as operators and advisors. It's a good market. But the other thing that we're going to be doing is helping through technology with matchmaking. We do capture a ton of data on who people want to meet or what their intentions or goals of attending IHIF are. So we're going to be using some AI predictive analytics. We're going to be suggesting sessions for them to see, as well as suggesting who they should meet. It's something new. We feel comfortable doing it because we do have less people this year. But yeah, it's going to be an incredible event. We're just excited to be able to get back into it. Frankly, it's something that we've been doing in the US, and to be able to go back to Europe, or at least go back to doing events in Europe for us feels like a very natural step.
Beautiful. I think that is exciting. Alexi Khajavi, thank you so much for being here today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, so this is really interesting to me, Sean Worker, because I love how they're introducing these new technologies, and that AI component is great, because every time I turn on the Netflix, it recommends what shows I should be watching. How cool is that it's going to tell me what sessions that I should be attending to help better me and my career?
That's the great thing that's coming out of a disastrous situation with COVID is each one of the businesses, either the ones that gather others or the ones that supply their clients, have got to up their game. I think the key takeaway is there's less, so it has to be better. So this quality level has to go up, and it has to be meaningful, and travel budgets are being questioned. And I think time is the new commodity. So the quality of using that time, that is yet to be measured, but I'm sure the attendees will measure, what did I get out of it, and was it a good use of my time?
Well, it's going to be a good use of your time if you go out to some of these events. Think about it, more high-level people than ever before, and you don't have to get distracted by the junior level people. That's my takeaway from this one, Sean. So I want to thank everybody for watching our show today, and we'll be back next time with another episode real soon of Take 5 + 1. Thanks for watching.